Welcome back to module 4 of the unit analysis of time series, and we will continue with the moving average method in this module. Recall that we have also discussed this moving average method in the previous module as well, in which we have talked about the 3-yearly moving averages and the 5-yearly moving average method. Okay. So whenever we have an odd number of terms or the period that we consider here, so that method can be used. In this module we are going to talk about the 4-yearly moving average, whose process is slightly different from what we have done in the 3-yearly and 5-yearly moving average. So a 4-yearly moving average, as the name suggests, here the average is taken over a period of 4 consecutive terms. This is exactly similar to what we do in 3-yearly and 5-yearly moving average. So if I go to the same data, this is the data that we have considered in the previous examples as well. So let us say I want to find the trend in this time series by using the 4-yearly moving average. So the initial procedure is the same, where we club a consecutive 4 years and we find out the averages over these 4 years. Okay, except that there is another step that is added to 4-yearly moving average, and that makes it a little different from the earlier methods. So let us go to this method. So what we do is it's a 4-yearly moving average. So we start clubbing this. So we take 4 years at a time. Okay. So when it is 4 years now, because we are considering even number of years, we do not have exactly a middle year as such in these 4 years. So what we do is we find out the average of these 4 values, and then we write it in the middle of the 2 mid years. Okay, so we'll write out at in the center of the middle 2 years, so that is here. Then we go to the next 4 years, that is from 2010 to 2013. Then again, whatever is the 4-yearly average that we get, okay, we'll write it at the center of the middle 2 years, that is 2011 and 2012, and so on. So to find out the 4-yearly average, we have to add these 4 values and then divide by 4. So in case of the first 4 years, 2009 to 2012, we are considering these 4 years. So it will be 95 plus 105 plus 82 plus 98, this. So it is 95 plus 105 plus 82 plus 98, this, divided by 4. Let me straight away write down the 4-yearly average. Okay, so if you add this comes to 95. So what I did was I found out the average of these 4 values, and I wrote it at the center of the middle 2 years, that is 2010 and 2011. Then we consider the next 4 years, that is 2010 to 2013. So, and we find out the 4-year average. So 105 plus 82 plus 98 plus 56, this total divided by 4. When I calculate this comes to 85.25. Let me write down the values directly. Then we go to the next 4 years, that is 2011 to 2014. So 11 to 14. So the next 4 years, this 4-yearly average, we write it here at the center. That will be between 2012 to 2013. Okay. So 82 plus 98 plus 56 plus 46, and then this total divided by 4. This comes to 70.5. Then the next 4 years, that is from 98 to 45, and that value will be writing here. So 98 plus 56 plus 46 plus 45, that comes to 61.25 after you divide by 4. Then you go to the next 4 years, that is from 56, 46, 45, 49, that is corresponding to 2013 to 2016. So 56 plus 46 plus 45 plus 89, the total divided by 4, this comes to 59. These are all directly the 4-yearly average values. Then you go to the next 4 years, that is from 2014 to 2017. So 46 plus 45 plus 89 plus 75, okay, this total divided by 4, this will come to 63.75. Then the next 4 years, 45 plus 89 plus 75 plus 46, this total divided by 4, this also comes to 63.75. Then the next 4 years, 89 plus 75 plus 46 plus 75, this total divided by 4, 71.25. And finally the last 4 years, that is corresponding to 2017 to 2020, and we'll write it at the center, the value that also comes to 71.25. Okay, so I have directly written the 4 yearly moving average. So the process until this is exactly similar to what we did in the previous method. The only difference here is an additional, where we do a sort of a centering in this 4 yearly average values. Now this 95 value is in between 2010 and 2011, and this 85.25 is between 2011 and 2012. What we do is we take an average of both these values. Okay, so it's like a 2 yearly average that I take. So what we will do is we will find out 95 plus this 85.25. okay, this divided by 2. We are taking the average of this 2. So you add this and divide by 2, you will get 90.125. So this is the final value that we are looking at as the 4 yearly average. Next you consider 85.25 and 70.5. So find an average of these two. So you will add 85 plus 25 plus 70.5, add this and divide by 2. This will come to 77.875. And this value that we get here, we write it in between 85.25 and 70.5. So accordingly, this value will come against 2012, this year. When we are writing it like this, so this 90.125 will come against 2011, this value. So the next value you will find out the average of 70.5 and 61.25, and that you will write at the center or in the middle of these two values. So 70.5 plus 61.25, add and then divide by 2. This will come to 65.875. So this value will now come against 2013. Okay, so we have all these values against these years, 2011, 2012, 2013. Next value is the average of 61.25 and 59. Okay, that value will come to 60.125. So 60.125. Next you consider 59 and 63.75, the average of these two values, that will come to 61.375. Next is 63.75 and 63.75, which is 63.75. Next is 63.75 and 71.25, which is 67.5. And the last two values are same, 71.25, 71.25. The average is 71.25. Okay, so this is the column finally that we will look at as the 4 yearly moving average values. Okay, so these are the actual profit values and these are the values that we have found. So this is the only difference between the 4 yearly average method and the previous methods, that is 3 yearly and 5 yearly moving average method. So what we have is these totals now. So these are the actual profit values, and these are the 4 yearly moving average values. Okay, all these values. So 90.125, it has come against 2011. Then so all these values that we have got are against each of these years. You will see that similar to 5 yearly moving averages, the first 2 rows and the last 2 rows, there won't be any values assigned to it. Okay. So if we put it into a graph, then we plot a graph. So these blue lines and the blue dots are the actual profit values, and we have now approximated it by using a 4 yearly moving average trend. Okay, so this value, these are 4 yearly. We see that this actual profit values, okay, which is quite a fluctuating one. We have made it a smooth curve to see a proper trend, what kind of a trend that is followed, because first, so we'll see that first it is decreasing and then it is increasing, okay. So a smooth curve that we see by using this 4-yearly moving average. Okay, so we have a 3-yearly, 5-yearly and 4-yearly moving average. Now given a data set, it is the same data set that we have considered here, and we have used these 3 methods for the same data set. Now how do you determine that for a data set or a time series which is the most appropriate moving average method? How do you determine the period? Okay, now that is something that we do by looking at the data. Okay, so to determine what is the period of moving average, okay, we cannot just randomly use any period of moving average, but it should depend on, and it will depend on the time series that we are talking about. Okay, let us say you have this data here. Okay, so I have here some values of some variable from 2001 to 2020. Okay. And now I want to measure the trend for this time series. So I want to determine which is the period of moving average that I should use here for this data. Now what we should do is we should look at the peak values for this time series. So the best way to look at to find the period of moving average is to just initially plot a graph for this data. So I plot a curve, a frequency curve for this time series. Now what you do is you just identify all the peak values for this. Okay, now you will see that it starts from this 20, then it goes to 23 and then it drops here, okay, to 22, starts from 20, 23, okay, so this, and then it drops, then it decreases. So this is one peak value that it attains. Then it drops to 22 and then it starts increasing, 22, 25, 32, 35. So it keeps on increasing from 20 to 35 and then it drops. So this is the next peak value. It drops to 34 and then again it starts increasing, 34, 37, 37, 32. So here it drops again. So this is the next peak value. So it drops to 32 after that, and then 32, 34, 38, 46, 48. It keeps increasing and then it drops to 40 here. So that means the next peak value is 48. So it increases till 48 and then it drops to 40. Again it's increasing, 40, 42, 44, 47. So it is increasing again, 40, 42, 44, 47, and then it drops here. So this is the next peak value. And then 43, 45, 55. This is, you can say, is the next peak value. So it is like this is the first peak value, that is 23. Then it increases and drops here. So this is the next peak value. Then it increases, here it is remaining the same, 37, 37. So you can say this is the next peak value. Then it drops and then increases, and then drops again. So this is the next peak value. Then again it's an increasing trend. This is the next peak value, and then finally this is the last peak value. Okay, so now you find out these peak values, the respective peak values have appeared after how many time intervals, okay, or how many years. Now this has appeared after 2, okay, 1, 2. So this is 1. The next peak value is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. Next peak value is after 1, 2, 3 years. Next value is after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The next peak value is after 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and the next peak value is after 2 years. So to find out what period of moving average that we should use, what we do is we take average of this. So we have to just add 2 plus 4 plus 3 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values. So this divided by 6. Okay. 2 plus 4 plus the 2, this is 6 plus 3, 9 plus 5, 14 plus 6, 20. So this is 20 upon 6, which is 3.33. So approximately it is, I can round it to 3. So which is the most preferred recommended period of moving averages here? We should be using a 3 yearly moving averages to look to measure the trend in this time series. So for a given data set or a time series like this is how we should determine what is the most appropriate period of moving averages. Of course, it may also differ based on an individual's opinion about the time series. This is something which is also subjective in nature. Okay, so if you look at this example here, now this is an example which is representing the daily new COVID cases. Okay, in some city right from February to December. Now, so these are the daily cases that we are given. Okay, you will see the fluctuations, the variations in the daily number of daily cases, and this time series is been approximated by a 7-day average method. So it is like 7-day moving averages, and it gives us an idea of how the number of cases have increased or decreased or varied from February to December 2020. Okay, so here we have used a 7-day moving average method. So depending on the data, we can decide upon the period of moving averages, and bigger the data, of course, a higher period probably will be recommended, because it will give you a more smoother curve as compared to the other methods.